And the special day that year was Bonfire Night, the 5th of November. Now all the kids from Banksia, Hovia, First Avenue, Third Avenue, all the avenues, all the kids, all the boys that I went to school with, and half were girls, so there's nearly 300 boys in the location of Kensington, went to Kensington Primary School. We used to go down the river, get all the melaleuca trees that were blown down, drag them all up to a block of land which was opposite 40 Hovia Terrace. There was a vacant block where now 3 houses were, some years later there was 3 houses built, and build this huge big bonfire. Huge. And we were very proud of that bonfire. We would, every day kids would go there and chuck more stuff on it, and all of me mates, and make sure it was still there the next day. And now, believe it or not, all our vigilance doing it, sometimes someone would light it before Bonfire Night. So the bonfire would go up and smoke.
So you'd actually be guarding your bonfire?
Yes, we were actually guarding it. Yes, I mean, we were kids. We probably didn't think we were guarding it, but we were just making sure that no one would get anywhere near that we didn't know, you know. But I can recall twice it went up and smoked before Bonfire Night. But that wasn't the end of wasn't Bonfire Night. Down we go again and start again and get that bonfire going. We all had our bag of crackers. The families went there, all the mum and dads came to the bonfire. The whole street would turn up. And those who were interested in local and other streets would turn up. It was a big family night. And you'd have your penny bobs, your Tom Thumbs. Tom Thumb was a tiny little cracker, about 1 inch long. And big bangers were huge, big crackers. And there was skyrockets, cartwheels, jumping jacks.
You could buy these from the local shop?
Yes. Down the track, I'll tell you a story that I used to sell them in my shop.
Guy Fawkes was a bit of fun. And most thing on Guy Fawkes Night, because we very rarely had crackers and so forth, except the throw-down variety that went bang when they hit the ground. I did not like the ones that jumped all over the place. I still don't. I loved looking at the results of them, you know, up in the air and all that sort of jazz. Occasionally we had a big firework place over the road here. The neighbours would have built it with sticks and the odd chair they didn't want and things like that. And if you had a particularly artistic person in the district, you'd get a guy on the top of it there. Yeah. And you could walk around the district, your immediate district, within a mile or so, and watch other people having fun with it. Guy Fawkes as well. And a lot of people got out and did those. They really did. It was fun. The ones I didn't care for were Catherine wheels, because if they were not put on the wall or the fence or whatever you like to call properly, would spin off. The result might have been good, but it was scary. I didn't like the jumping jack ones because they did jump, and the main thing of the young lads was to throw these things down beside you. You could never tell which way they were going because they'd go every which way. I didn't like those either. But it was a lot of fun because there were a lot of other people there. And the lads of the district used to go around the next day to see what unfired ones they could get and bring them back again. And that was all right. I believe that there were a couple of accidents with fireworks, and kids got burnt with them, which would have been very sad and very nasty and very scary for the onlookers too. But in those days it was par for the course, I suppose you'd say. You didn't deliberately go out doing it.
We always had a bonfire. We had an enormous vacant bit of land in Waverley Street that had wildflowers and goannas. And my mother killed a dugite once in Waverley Street. And they had the fire there, and everybody bought their own crackers. And the adults usually had some big ones that they saved up, and the kids had little bags of little ones. And but we were strictly forbidden to go anywhere near the fire the next day. When I trained at Princess Margaret in the 50s, we had a big campaign to stop the fires, because the kids, particularly boys, would go looking for the crackers that didn't go off, and they'd be in the hot coals before they realised. And I saw kids that had lost all their toes, and I saw a couple of kids that were riding their push bikes with their bag of crackers up their jumper, and someone threw a lit one, and they were terribly burnt in the chest and the throat, and had years of surgery. And there was a little girl from Donnybrook, I think she was, who fell in the fire and died, and the parents asked them to use the photographs of her, and they did, and they had this big campaign, and within less than 12 months they'd stopped.
On Bonfire Night, kids would go around, that was a big event. They'd light other kids' bonfires before and they'd pinch the wood and everything and pile theirs up, and the others they'd be fighting over the cardboard boxes and dead grass and what have you. That's ours, leave it alone, and they banned it because Princess Margaret Hospital would always have a dozen casualties a night, and someone had put a lighted cracker down the back of someone's pants or some stupid thing like that, and they'd get hurt and burnt. People, fires got away, and by the 5th of November it could be very hot. You get a hot night, even then, and fires would get away. You would see these bonfires all along the riverfront, all around Renleigh Crescent, because not far from the Crescent was the rubbish dump also. And there was also reeds. Often they would catch a light. There was plenty of fire, plenty of smoke, plenty of pollution, and plenty of noise.
We used to make the guy, and made out of old clothes and stuffed with grass and paper and stuff, and take him around to the nearest shop, and anybody going by, he'd ask him for a penny for the guy.
Well, firm friends, Mr. and Mrs. Mapstone. He was a plumber, and a very well regarded one in South Perth, and they lived on the corner of Addison and Elizabeth Street, and they had a block of land behind them, and it was an annual event. The bonfire was built over weeks, great excitement, and when Guy Fawkes night came, parents and children all gathered around it, and great fun had by all. I remember the Ranfords and the Woodheads and the Everards. We know the reasons why it's not done today, and I do remember quite a few little mishaps. And I can remember my father getting I don't know what it was, that hit his leg, and he was jumping all around, but there might have been a little bit of dramatics added to the event, but I think he had a scorch mark on his trousers afterwards, but anyway, there we are. All good fun, yes. And the men would, they'd have a little drinky of this and that, and the cups of tea and the plates, the plates of cakes, and just general laughter. It was something that you don't see often, or there are street parties today. I think there is a little bit of a returning to streets wanting to. Neighbours fraternise more. There's been a huge gap really over the years. Yeah.